Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be going through my daily maintenance for most of my ant colonies and also my inverts. We'll start off with Camponotus cinctellus. This week these guys needed some more sugar as they just run out. Along with the sugar, I'm also giving them some protein in the form of half a Morio worm. These guys are starting to get pretty big though, as they've started getting majors and hopefully they'll soon get some Ripley's. These guys are an African species, so during the other ants' hibernation these guys are still growing. And the queen is doing great as she's just pumping out eggs by the day. I'll just quickly cover my formica scenario as they're quite small and don't require daily attention, but they still need like weekly or bi-weekly attention. I'll give them the head of the Morio worm as they're quite small and don't really need that much protein, and then I'll also take out the apple so it doesn't start to mold. This will be the only test tube colony that I cover as it's really just rinse and repeat. So I'll move on to my bigger colonies, starting with the cunicularia. I've recently moved a lot of my colonies into these massive boxes, so I can put 1 or 2 colonies in there depending on the size, and it just contains the mites as I can't really get rid of them at the moment, so hopefully soon I'll be able to get rid of them, but if not, having them in these boxes just makes it a bit easier to, well, do stuff with them. And that is also why I'm wearing gloves, because I don't want mites on my hands. I also recently moved the cunicularia into a new setup, and at the moment most of them are in the other box, in their nesting box, and they've started to dig under the nest, which is pretty cool. So now we'll move on to the Fidoli. I've got 3 colonies all in the same setups, and I'm trying to give them the exact same conditions so that they grow equally at the same time. This is an attempt to breed them, as I'm hoping that if they all grow at the same speed, they'll all get elates at the same time. And then hopefully I can breed them and, well, if it works, I can sell them or just give them in giveaways. Either way, if it does or doesn't work, it's still a good way to learn about ants. I've also labelled the colonies A, B and C when I got them, and I did it in order of which ones were doing better, so A of course was doing the best and then C was doing the worst. But either way, they're all doing pretty equally at the moment, and all of them just got a new batch of workers, which hopefully will make them grow faster. I miss their setups once a week, so that they can dig in the sand a bit easier. And I replenish their sugar 3 times a week. I also give them all half a mealworm every other day, but at the moment I have Morio worms, so I just cut it up into thirds. And if you don't know what Morio worms are, they're basically just a bigger version of the mealworms. I'd recommend trying these DIY setups out for yourself if you can, as they're like under £3 per setup, which is really good. And also they're pretty clear, and you can get them from, I think, basically any home base, so yeah. But now we'll move on to the Fedchenkoi. These guys have grown a lot. I mean, their outworld is literally covered in ants, and they're also filling up both of their nests. I tend to feed these guys 2 to 3 mealworms every other day, and I also just put sugar in their outworld because I can't take that sugar tower out because it is just absolutely covered in ants. These guys have loads of repletes, as almost all of their workers in the outworld and in their nest are just filled to the brim with sugar and proteins. I clean their outworld once a week so it doesn't build up, and like twice a month I give them a new test tube filled with water as they love it. I'll also be giving these guys a new nest soon that I made, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out. And while you're down there, comment which one of my colonies is your favourite. So now onto the McCanns. These guys have been an ongoing problem for a while now, almost a year. And I made a pretty big mistake. I just didn't feed them any protein for a really long time. And well, I just made a video on reviving my McCanns. So I've started to give them more sugar and protein, so hopefully they can grow again. But if we looked into their big nest, we can see that they still fill to the brim with workers. As their outworld may have looked desolate, after only a minute, there are hundreds of workers outside drinking from the sugar. But if you've seen these guys in the past, you'll know that they used to be thousands strong, and their entire outworld used to be black from the amount of workers that there were. So these guys have a lot of growing to do to get back to their former glory. But now onto a new colony, my Polyrachus dives. These guys are commonly known as ground weavers, and I would agree with that because the only 2 places that they weave so far are in the ground. As I record this video, they're currently set up in the house, but I didn't realise that, so I couldn't really get that good of a camera shot. And the house is a 3D printed decor from Ants on a Rock, which you can see at the top of the screen and is filled with debris. Since I've got these guys, they've grown loads, and hopefully in the future when they grow more, they'll move into the big ball. I have to mist these guys every day and keep them on a heat mat to retain their humidity, as they're from Asia and over there is quite hot and humid, which is how they like it. There's also tons of springtails in the substrate, so if any food doesn't get eaten, they'll clean it up. I also added 3 mealworm beetles, but I don't know if they're alive because I haven't really looked in there much. But they're there to increase the biodiversity and hopefully produce some baby mealworms for the colony. I give these guys a mealworm every other day and replenish their sugar every other day as well. Although you can't see it very well, the colony members actually do look really cool as they have a golden garter. And as their name Weaver Ant suggests, they use their larvae to weave nests, and they've done it twice in this setup, and hopefully they'll do it another time with the big ball. At the moment though, they have tons of larvae, so hopefully they'll explode soon. And now on to the Mesobarbarus. And actually this was the first colony that I ever showed on my YouTube channel, in an actual video of course. This colony is almost 2 years old now, and has had their lates in their first year already. Over hibernation, they didn't do too good, and their population decreased a little bit. They also just didn't produce much brood, so at the moment they're kinda broodless, and hopefully soon the queen will start laying some more eggs. I tend not to give these guys much protein, as especially, well, at the moment they don't have many larvae, but it's been a few weeks, so I decided to give them a Morio worm. I also refill these guys' water towers every week, as they drink tons of water, well, to make ant bread, and also just to survive, as they have tons of workers. And I forgot to mention, but these guys are super aggressive, and as you can see, in under 30 seconds, they've already taken this Morio worm back to their nest. I clean these guys' outworld weekly, as they produce tons of waste in the form of seed husks. But the reason that they have 2 water towers is that if I only put one in there, it would only last like 2 days, as these guys are really thirsty. I also recently put some protein jelly in there, as I know they love it from the past, and they've put it in their seed pile to hopefully eat later. And along with them drinking all the water from their water towers, I also have to water their nests, and wow, that's a lot of water. This is a first smaller nest, and the queen likes it more, so that's why I keep it. I only water it twice a week as it lasts a while, but for their white wing nest I have to water it almost every day. Okay, so that's about it for the ants, and now we're on to the inverts. Starting with the jumping spider. I got her from the Bristol event hosted by Ants on a Rock, and honestly I couldn't tell you the species name, but it's something Florida, and like basically any other jumping spider, she has these massive eyes and she looks pretty cool. I definitely recommend getting a jumping spider, as I absolutely hate spiders, but I think these jumping spiders look pretty cool. I missed her and her setup every day. I'm pretty sure it helps to keep their cocoon intact, as it needs the moisture, but don't quote me on that because I honestly don't know. I also feed her a mealworm every week. Then after the jumping spider, we got the cryptic mantis named Fig, of course by none other than you guys. Like the jumping spider, I miss him once a day, and I've had him for quite a while now, and he knows that whenever I take the lid off he's gonna get misted, so he automatically tries to drink even though there's no water there. Also, if you want to be a part of naming the inverts and colonies, make sure to subscribe and look in the community tab of my channel, as I release new posts almost every week. I don't feed Fig weekly as he's got wings, which means he's on his last life stage. This means he's ready to mate, but unfortunately he won't have anyone to mate with, as I don't have another cryptic mantis. So F in the chat for Fig. But either way, he's still doing a good job as a mantis, as he looks just like a stick. Of course, along with hydrating them, misting also makes it easier for them to molt. Of course, it doesn't really help this guy as he's on his final stage of life, but for the spider it does. But now we move on to his big brother. Oh, and also real quick, just in case you didn't know, the jumping spider is called John the Third, again decided by you guys. Okay, so back to the big mantis. Unfortunately right now he doesn't have a name, so in the comments below put down your name suggestions for him. I missed him every day, just like the other inverts, and because of his size I do feed him once a week with mealworms, because well they're honestly just like a snack to him as he is so much bigger than them. And honestly, out of all the ants and inverts that I keep, I'd say he's the most self-aware, as well. I mean, he can see me from across my room, and well it might seem a bit creepy, it's actually pretty cool. I don't take him out his setup that much, but when I do he loves it, as he loves to climb, and well luckily he hasn't flown. If you haven't already, I definitely recommend getting a mantis, especially a big one, as although they could hurt you, it's very rare, like mine has never even tried to hurt me, and they are also super friendly and probably more interactable with than like a hamster, so I definitely recommend getting one. As you can see here, he's trying to climb on me and is actually able to comprehend what he's doing, which is pretty cool. That's the end of the video. Here's a mantis waving bye. Thank you for watching, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Later.